Okay, let's settle down. It's 8:01, and I'm calling to order town meeting for our second evening. Some quick announcements up front. The 2025 annual report is at the back of the room, and if any members did not take a copy on Monday, feel free to take one tonight because by tomorrow they will be gone. Precinct 11 will be meeting during the break in front of the treasurer's office. Other precincts can meet as well if you want, but there's no requirement. Precinct 17 just has some business to do with a vacancy. Let's see, if you've been following on the town meeting progress tracker, the vote quantum on zoning articles, several of them were inaccurate. They were showing as majority vote, and those that should be 2/3 vote have been updated, in case you were wondering about that. And thank you to Mr. Klein for pointing this out to me. Thank you. I'm also calling for the resolution petitioners. The resolutions are the articles starting at 89 in the warrant. Most of them are citizens petitions. 89 itself actually comes from a report, but most of them come from citizens petitions. I've received and published drafts of or the final drafts of some of those resolutions, but I have not received all of them from the petitioners. So if you are a petitioner of a resolution that's a citizen's petition, and or you're a town meeting member working with the petitioner, if they're not a town meeting member themselves, please get your drafts into me so I can review them and we can get them published on the website so folks know what business they'll be taking up at the end of the warrant. Also, I'd like to make a call for any opponents to resolutions. I haven't heard from anyone who wishes to speak in opposition to resolutions. I'll have more information forthcoming. The rules are essentially the same as previous past years, where there's essentially just two speakers, the speaker in favor, the speaker in opposition, and we do allow some limited amendments on the resolutions, but generally it's just the two speakers up front, the pro and con speakers. We don't open the speaker queue for the resolution articles. So if you're interested in speaking in opposition to any of the resolutions from Articles 89 to 96, please contact me. Let's see, we also have Article 23. There's a substitute motion, which is a print-only copy, but we've actually also published it in the annotated warrant for folks who were checking on the warrant earlier today. So in the town meeting guidelines where it refers to print-only copies, we're actually doing it a little bit differently this year, and I'll update the guidelines after this town meeting to reflect this very small, but I think helpful change in practice, that once I've reviewed an article or an amendment or a substitute motion for scope, even if it's within the deadline that we have in the guidelines, which says 5 p.m. the business day before the meeting at which the article comes up, if I get it within that time frame, we'll the clerk and I will take a best effort approach to try to get those published if we can, if I can get those approved in time. I just can't make any guarantees that I'll have time to review it or that it'll get published to the annotated warrant. But it doesn't change the rule that if you miss that deadline of the business day before to get your amendment or substitute motion in, you still need to provide the 300 printed copies that the town will not be providing for you. So you'll still have to take on that legwork yourself. So that part of the guidelines is not changing. Also, I want to point out that the deadlines in the town meeting guidelines for motions is not a target. It's try to get them in as early as you can. As we're already seeing, some articles are taken out of order due to motions to postpone or late articles on the table. So really, any article could come up any night, and please be prepared for that. But generally, we try to take the articles in numeric order, but sometimes weird situations arise where we do need to jump around, and we'll be doing some of that at the beginning of this meeting. Finally, let's see, I just want to speak a little bit about ADA compliance for any motions or materials that you submit to me for the annotated warrant to be distributed and to be announced to town meeting members. I think it's by the end of this year. Is that right, Ms. Brazil? Okay, so yeah, we're kind of like in this practice period of trying to, and it's also just good practice, and it's helpful for folks if we could make our online materials, our electronic materials, as accessible as possible. And the rule of thumb you could use, if you're sending a document to me and Ms. Brazil to post to the annotated warrant, this could be a motion or an attachment in the annotated warrant, a good rule of thumb is if you open that file on a computer, try to select the text of that document, and if you're unable to select the text, there's a good chance that it's just an image, which will not be readable by screen readers, which will mean that it's not accessible to folks using screen readers. And that's gonna be problematic going forward, and it's also just not helpful for folks who need to use screen readers. So, and if you can select the text, like you can select individual words or sentences, and you can highlight them with your mouse, then there's a decent chance that it's gonna be more accessible to those sorts of devices. So please check on that before you submit materials. Let's see. I said lastly, but there is one more lastly, which is I just wanted to explain a bit of what happened with Article 16. I'm not going to go into the excruciating details, but there was a numbering discrepancy. We had a point of order on that article, and we'll get to that tonight, where there was a discrepancy between what was printed in the Select Board report, and that did match what was in the Select Board report posted on the town website, but those did not match what was in the annotated warrant for Article 16. And so some of us on the town side of things, and town staff, and the clerk as well, reviewed what happened there, and the long story short is that there's a Word document from which the Select Board report is edited within that document, and there was a discrepancy in which there were two PDFs that were produced from that Word document, essentially. I might be getting some of the details wrong because I wasn't involved in that process, but the time at which the report was published from the initial PDF, there was one more edit to I think it was to add or remove one line, which it only changed the numbering in one of the lists. It didn't actually change any material values. That created the discrepancy because the annotated warrant was created from that document that had been edited one more time, I believe, or one more time or one less time, one way or the other. So it did not have any material impact, and we'll be taking up Article 16 tonight. So apologies for that confusion, and we're gonna be looking at putting processes in place to make sure that we don't have discrepancies like that in the future. And now it's my pleasure to introduce our first guest performer of this town meeting. She's a freshman at Arlington High School, and she hails from East Arlington. Please join me in welcoming Maria Bashimov to perform the national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Mr. Hurd.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. John Hurd, Chair of the Select Board. It is moved that if all of the business of the meeting as set forth in the warrant for the annual town meeting is not disposed of at this session, when the meeting adjourns, it adjourns to Monday, May 4th, 2026 at 8 p.m.
In Town Hall. All those in favor say yay. Yay. All those opposed say nay. It is unanimous. Okay, we'll now take a test vote. Let's bring up that vote. Okay, the question is true or false? 1 for true, 2 for false. The Black Horse Tavern in Arlington was demolished in 1892. Okay, let's get our votes in. Okay, we can close voting. And the motion fails, 83 in the affirmative, 90 in the negative, 22 abstentions. Let's cycle through the votes now. Okay, we'll let the record show that Arlington Town Meeting rejects the claim that I found on Reddit earlier tonight. r/history. Okay, while those votes are cycling through, are there any announcements or resolutions tonight? Yes. Mr. Grunichi, third row. Okay. Yep, go ahead.
I got 2 minutes. Thank you, Mr. Moderator. I just want to take a moment to recognize an Arlington business that just put us on the international map. Last Wednesday, Arlington Brewing Company won gold at the 2026 World Beer Cup. The most prestigious, it is the most prestigious brewing competition in the world. Their Trafford Ale, which many of you may have had, took the top spot in the English mild or bitter category, judged against 63 other beers from around the globe. Across all the 114 categories, so they do categories, in the competition, Massachusetts breweries only took home 3 of those, and Arlington Brewing was the only gold. The Arlington Brewing team pulled this off without even having a permanent tap room yet. That is an Arlington business going toe-to-toe with the global brewing industry and coming home with the gold. So I'd like to say congratulations to the entire Arlington Brewing Company team, and for anyone who wants to celebrate with them, this Saturday, the Saturday Beer Garden starts at the Jason Russell House in a couple weeks. It's back on May 16th, so every Saturday over the summer. For more amazing news, for more on this amazing news, and for the full lineup of events until they get that top room open, check out their very appropriately named website, drinkarlingtonbeer.com. And one final thought, if I may bring it back to what the moderator reminded us on Monday in his opening speech. Our committees of old voted to adjourn to Mr. Weatherby's at the Black Horse Tavern, which we just found was demolished in 1892. Just a 15-minute walk down Mass Ave. And so with any luck, next year's town meeting can vote to adjourn to the now world-recognized Arlington Brewing Company tap room on Ryder Street, following, I think it's a bit of a brisk 15-minute walk over there of our town. So congratulations to Arlington Brewing. I just wanted to share that awesome news with everyone. So and appreciate all the folks who have been supporting the brewery over the past few years. So thank you.
Thank you. Will Mr. Kurt Russell be present at the? Okay, we have an announcement in the. Okay, see what you can pull together. Front row, yes. And then Mr. Foskett after, yeah.
Kristen Anderson, Precinct 11. I've got a Cantabrigian in the hall, and I wonder if she would be allowed in to stand with us.
Yeah, can you just explain, just briefly describe for us, like her title, her position? Yeah.
She's a steering committee member of Save the Alewife Brook. And her name is Ann McDonald, and she lives on Columbus Avenue and Mass Avenue in North Cambridge, across from the brook. She's an abutter to the brook.
Okay, so because it's a non-resident of Arlington, we just take a voice vote on whether it's a majority vote, whether to approve a non-resident to address the meeting. All those in favor of the speaker addressing the meeting say yay. Yay. All those opposed say nay. It is unanimous vote. She may speak.
Okay.
Welcome.
Thank you. So I'm Kristen Anderson, Precinct 11, David White, Precinct 21, Jean Benson, Precinct 10, and Ann McDonald of North Cambridge. We are some of the founding members of Save the Alewife Brook, and we want to thank everybody who came out to our DCR Earth Day cleanup on Saturday along Alewife Brook. Among the folks who came out were Town Manager Feeney, behind me, and Deputy Town Manager and Finance Director Julie Wayman. And we saw Jim and Julie hauling 2 huge bags of trash out of the park. Thank you. Thanks also to Select Board member Diane Mahan, who sprang into action to help us hand out T-shirts. 2 Cambridge City Councilors were there. Councilor Patty Nolan helped us to get our DCR waivers signed, and Councilor Mark McGovern helped clean up trash. State Reps Dave Rogers and Sean Garbely joined us and helped pick up some particularly gross trash over by the Alewife MBTA parking garage. 213 people signed in for the event. The support has been absolutely overwhelming. And only because of support from folks like you are we having a huge impact, making improvements to the plans to end sewage pollution, not just at Alewife Brook, but also in the Mystic and Charles Rivers. Tomorrow, the MWRA will release a 1,000-page document, including a $340 million plan for Alewife Brook. We have waited 4 years for this. It is a large amount of money, but the plan is crappy because raw sewage will continue to be dumped into the brook and at much greater volumes in larger storms because of climate change. And for only $46 more to households in the MWRA system annually, MWRA can end sewage pollution in all 3 rivers, the Alewife, Mystic, and Charles. Because MWRA's plan fails to end sewage pollution, we have created a community plan which does. And you can see maps of both plans in the back of the hall during halftime. And also at the back of the hall, we have a petition calling, or I guess outside the hall, we are asking you to sign a petition calling for an end to raw CSO sewage pollution. Please sign it tonight. Signing the petition sends an email message to MWRA, Cambridge and Somerville, as well as area legislators. It'll also get you on our mailing list. This is how we will let you know when action is needed. This is the year that we need your help more than ever, so please sign that petition. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Oh, can we, Mr. Foskett? Yeah, come on. And I believe we have a slide that he shared. Yes, thank you. Mr. Foskett, you have the floor.
Thank you, thank you, Mr. Moderator. Charles Foskett, Precinct 8. Sorry, Precinct 10. It got changed. I was used to saying Precinct 8 for about 30 years. Precinct 10. So I'm here representing the Arlington Rotary Club to remind everyone that very soon we will be displaying our Flags for Heroes display up at Park Circle, where every resident has the opportunity to honor their personal heroes, whether that's military veteran or first responders, family members, parents, teachers, any community leaders, people that are heroes to you. And the process is we donate a flag or dedicate a flag. and pay $40 per flag. It's tax deductible, and by the way, if the $40 tax deductible is not, tax deduction is not impressive enough, we urge you to buy more flags. The funds are used to support scholarships. Each year we give 3 scholarships of $2,000 each, one to an Arlington High School graduate, one to an Arlington Catholic High School graduate, and one to a Minuteman graduate. This year, we're dedicating the Flags for Heroes display to 2 women who were trailblazers, leaders in public service in Arlington that passed away within the last 12 months. Ann Mahan Powers and Kathleen Kylie Diaz. Ann Powers began her public service, well, she worked for the town from beginning in 1952, but she was the first woman elected as a town officer, as a clerk in 1959. She served in that position for 9 years. She stepped back to raise a family, and then she came back, was a member of the Board of Selectmen for a while, and then was elected again as town clerk. So she was a fantastic trailblazer, a great leader, and personally I remember her here at town meeting for many years. Kathleen Diaz, another great leader. She was on the school committee for 13 years. She was on the Board of Selectmen or what's now the Select Board, what was then the Board of Selectmen, for 15 years. And she was also a professional healthcare provider, very active in St. Agnes Parish, and overall a leader in many campaigns and many issues in the town. So Rotary is honoring those 2 great leaders who passed away within the last 12 months at this Flags for Heroes display. So there's a, if you can go to the next slide, please. There's a little flyer in the back you can pick up, tells you about it. On the back, there's one of those codes. On the front, there's one of those codes. Put your phone on it, it'll take you right to the website, and you can make your donation right then and there and enter your personal heroes. And on the back, there's a little summary of what Rotary does, inviting you to join Rotary. You don't have to own the First National Bank of Arlington in order to be a member of Rotary. It's a service organization. The motto is service above self. We do all sorts of interesting and exciting things locally, nationally, internationally. So I urge you to take a look at this, and if you're interested, stop by the Donut Villa on Wednesday morning, 7:30, and join us for breakfast. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Foskett. Do we have any other announcements or resolutions? Yes, a hand back there. Yep. Yep. Oh, and while we have a speaker coming up there, I forgot to mention there are next speaker seats, I think, that were marked in the front row. So if anyone else is making an announcement, you can come up and sit in one of the empty spots in the front. Yeah, go ahead.
Thanks very much, Mr. Moderator. Paul Selker here, Precinct 9. I'm here at this podium now, though, in my capacity as a board member of Your Arlington, which many of you know is our town source for independent news. Many folks here may already know about Your Arlington, but since the last time we met here, we have a brand new website, completely revamped newsletter, and much more. In fact, if you subscribed to our newsletter, you would already have known both that Trafford Ale won the gold in the Arlington Brewing, in the International Brewing Competition, and you would have seen photos taken by Dave Shrewsbury of the Save the Alewife Brook cleanup, because both of those had stories this week in Your Arlington. Our editor, Carol, I haven't seen her tonight, but I imagine she's here. She usually is, and she's published 6 stories already on town meeting in this since we've started. So if you do not already subscribe to our free newsletter, which will put this and much more reporting in your inbox every week, you should take out your phone or your laptop, go to yourarlington.com, scroll right to the bottom, and you will see a spot to put in your email and click subscribe. And you can unsubscribe at any time. Thanks very much.
Thank you. Any other? Yep. Any other announcements or resolutions? Mr. Tosti.
Al Tosti, Precinct 17. This seems to be the night. I'm looking for volunteers. And as opposed to the volunteers a couple of speakers ago, you don't have to pull really yucky stuff out of Al Life Brook in this effort. We have a program that we're putting together to help high school juniors learn about finance, how to balance a checkbook, how to buy property.
I'm sorry, sorry to interrupt. Can you step a few inches away from the mic? Because it's kind of popping.
Okay.
Yeah.
What it is to make a budget. And this is, it's happened in many other high schools across the state. It is on June 11th, I think that's a Thursday in the morning. It's the entire junior class. We're setting up booths, some real estate, some booths on budgeting, banking, all kinds, like 10 or 15 different booths. Each junior will get an occupation and a salary, and they need to balance the budget and then come back and see if they did it. So we really need volunteers. We're hoping for people to keep this going year by year. You don't have to be an expert in any one particular areas. For high school juniors, just being an adult is an expert. So if you have any questions, please come and see me. If you want to get more information, give me your name and your email on a piece of paper. Thank you very much.
Great, thank you. Any other announcements or resolutions? Seeing none, I now call for reports of committees. Any reports of committees? Ms. Deschler, we have to do our procedural gymnastics to deal with Article 3.
Christine Deschler, Chair of the Finance Committee. I move that Article 3 be taken from the table.
Okay, we have a motion to take Article 3 from the table and a second. All those in favor say yay. All those opposed say nay. It is a 2/3 vote. So Article 3 is now before us, and we had a hand over here for a report of a committee. Yes.
Sue Doctorow, Precinct 21, co-chair of the Community Preservation Act Committee. I move that the committee's report be received.
Okay. All those in favor of receiving the report say yay. Yay. All those opposed say nay. It is unanimous and received. Thank you.
Thank you. So we do have a correction in the report, and I won't read it to you because Madam Clerk has a memo on typos, and ours is listed. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other reports of committees? Yes, Ms. Gruber? Yes.
Rebecca Gruber, Town Meeting Member, Precinct 10, and member of the Library Board of Trustees. On behalf of the Library Board of Trustees and the Director of Libraries, Anna Litton, I move that the Library Impact Report be received as published on the town's website.
Okay. All those in favor, we have a motion and a second to receive this report. All those in favor say yay. Yay. All those opposed say nay. It is unanimous and received. Thank you.
Let me just add, this first ever Library Impact Report includes stories of the power of our libraries, as shared by both residents and staff. It also includes key library performance indicators. Copies of the report are available on the back table to appropriately borrow and return, or you can keep them. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other reports of committees? Seeing none. Ms. Deschler?
I move that Article 3 be laid upon the table.
Okay, motion to lay Article 3 upon the table. We have a second. All those in favor of laying Article 3 on the table say yay. Yay. All those opposed say nay. It is unanimous. That takes us back to the resumption of Article 19, and then following Article 19, we'll take up Article 10, which was postponed until after this first partial article. Okay, so Article 19. And do we have the speaker queue up from Article 19? Is this, I think, at least the first speaker seems accurate, right? Good. Oh, seem to have some video connection we're working on. So I can see the speaker queue here. So why don't we, while they're working that out, Mr. Wagner is next in the speaker queue. followed by Mr. Schlickman, and hopefully you'll be able to see that
Thank
speaker
you,
queue
Mr.
soon.
Moderator.
Yep.
Is this a working microphone?
Yes, I can hear you. Yep.
Carl Wagner, Precinct 15. At the time we didn't close this out at the last session, I thought, oh, you know, it's always good to close an item out. But having thought about this a little more, I urge you to not say yes to this because it's missing two important things. It's missing some sort of threshold of how much money a person has to owe or a property has to owe, and there's an economic cost to the town filing all these things. And I think that there is a question of what do we do to people who live in our town? Do we take punitive measures so easily without some better quantification of how much they have to owe and what damage is done to them? People have said that adding a lien could be almost seen, for example, for immigrants as a crime, and we know what our government in Washington does to people who are immigrants and have committed crimes. So I urge you to send this back to have better numbers in it, better ideas about what exactly would be done and when and how much it would cost. Thank you.
Thank you. So the speaker queue I'm seeing now is different from what I was seeing a minute ago. Can we restore that list that we had? Whatever we had at the end of Monday night, do we have that? I see like 3 new requests in from 8:31 and 8:32, so that was just now. And if we have to, we'll just have to clear it. Is that what we have to do? Okay. Apologies for that. We still have more work to do on saving and restoring queues. So let's clear the queue. Are we able to show it yet? Okay, that's the queue, and it's clear. So you can now press 1 to request to speak. Mr. Jameson, you have the floor, followed by Ms. Dre. Again, apologies for the hiccup with the speaker queue.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Gordon Jameson, Precinct 12. Just 2 quick comments. I think we should pass this, and in fact, passing Article 17 the other night makes essentially this a moot point, because once we adjourn and it clears the AG office, we have charged our different heads of these different offices in the town with setting up these rates, which brings me to my second point. If you wish to amend the rates in any way, your method for that is getting on the agenda for these different leadership
Mr. Jameson,
roles.
sorry to interrupt. Are you speaking to Article 16?
This is the rates, right? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm confused.
Yeah, I think your remarks are in reference to 16.
What are we doing now?
19.
Which is?
Bylaw amendment, addition of certain delinquent municipal fees and fines.
Okay, never mind.
Yep, sorry.
Why don't I just finish that? I won't have to get up here again. Basically,
No, you can resume where you were. You can. Okay. Ms. Dre? Yeah.
Good evening, Elizabeth Dre, Precinct 10. Just clarify, currently the only way to follow through on delinquent taxes is a criminal path? Is that true? And does this allow a non-criminal path?
Mr. Cunningham, are you able to answer that question?
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Michael Cunningham, Town Council. I don't think many of these are non-criminal taxes and liens that would be applicable. There are provisions already in the bylaw that allow for the town to establish a tax lien on certain overdue charges and fees. This would just expand upon it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, and next we have Mr. Moore, Christopher Moore. Okay, we have reached the end of the speaker queue, and so we will now, let's see, we have no amendments on this. All right, so And apologies for the jumping around. I mean, you all did that. You approved these motions, but it does make things a little confusing about keeping context. Okay, so we're going to take a vote now on the main motion of Article 19, and while we're bringing that up, I'll just summarize. Again, make sure you're looking at Article 19. This would amend Title I, Article 21 of the town bylaws to expand the types of delinquent municipal fees and fines that can be placed as liens on real estate tax accounts. Okay, voting is now open. If you're in favor of that change to the town bylaws, press 1 for yes. If you're opposed to that change, press 2 for no or 3 to abstain. And this is a majority vote on the main motion. Okay, voting is now closed. And it passes 155 in the affirmative, 49 in the negative, 9 abstentions. It is an affirmative vote. That now takes us to Article 10. And let's see. Okay, so this article was postponed until tonight. And this is the first opportunity at which we can take it up without interrupting another pending article that's underway. And so, let's see, I want to invite up, there was some back and forth on this about scope issues, so I want to invite up Mr. Carmen, who I believe had a motion to offer, which will make more sense when you hear his motion. Yeah. You can explain or I can explain.
Am I in the middle? Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Dean Carmen, Precinct 20. I move that we, what's majority, postpone?
Postpone is majority, table is 2/3.
I move that we postpone the article. So let me explain. So
You
I was reading,
have to give it a date, a time, or after an article that's certain, as opposed to, it's not postponed indefinitely.
we'll just postpone till Monday, right?
If that's enough time, yeah.
That's fine. I move to postpone till Monday.
Okay, and do we have a second on that? Yeah.
All right. Let me explain. I'm going to explain what's going
We
on.
have a point of order? Oh, can we display something that says, I think it's Article 8 of the bylaws, is that correct? Yeah, it's not Article 8 in the warrant, it's Article 8 of whatever title of the bylaws, right? Yeah. So I believe that's correct. Mr. Carmen, go ahead.
So like a lot of we sort of get to town meeting and we start reading the articles. And, you know, under our rules of town meeting, the article that what shows up in the warrant and what shows up in the vote have to resemble each other. You know, you can't have a vote that's in addition to the scope of the warrant, right? So if you look at the warrant, it addresses 3 points: fees, fines, and clerical changes. If you look at the vote, I look at it, doesn't matter, it's my opinion, I see the changes as far more substantial than clerical. It adds new rules and responsibilities and powers and processes to the Conservation Commission. I don't see that as clerical. So I wrote a letter to the person whose opinion does matter, Mr. Christiana, and I said, hey, I think this is beyond the scope of the article, these clerical changes. It's not clerical, it's substantive. And he went back and forth, and I'm not trying to put words in his mouth, but I think he reached the point of saying, like, yeah, I think you've probably got something here. There's a lot to it. We've got to kind of break it down. Of course, I did it last night, which probably wasn't the best time to do it. And so we're at a point now where the article as it stands is probably not, I think would be ruled outside the scope. I mean, that's the email exchange back and forth, right? I also talked to Mr. Morgan, the environmental planner, I think his title is, very nice guy. I've bumped into him before. And essentially what we talked about over email is, he said, look, we put the article in, we kept working on it. It is probably true that there are some things outside the article, right? So, okay. But in my opinion, and this is why I think you should all vote to postpone.
Okay, I can summarize that. There are, I've made the decision that there are scope issues with this. There wasn't time to kind of announce this because this was kind of a late-breaking development, and that Mr. Carmen brought to light. And so my decision that there are elements of the recommended vote that are out of scope, that they do go beyond clerical changes. They probably don't materially change things in practice, but they're not clerical either. And so as a result of that, the main motion is out of scope. I'm not going to do like a kind of a line item, check on scope, other than to say that there are elements of it that are out of scope, that puts the main motion out of scope. And so the options for the meeting are, we can go ahead and vote for essentially no action, because again, I can't just edit on the floor here tonight what portions specifically are out of scope. We need more time to figure that out. And so what Mr. Carmen, I believe, is offering is a motion to postpone until Monday, I believe he said, so that there's time for me to further assess scope and for folks to come back potentially on Monday with, you can have more time if you want, because we're going to be going beyond Monday, I'm sure, to offer a substitute motion that would replace what is effectively a no action main motion. Because I can't allow the meeting to vote on a motion that's out of scope. So it's, for all intents and purposes, the main motion right now is effectively no action. And so with a postponement, it would offer time for folks, any town meeting members really, to offer a substitute motion that could try to recover some elements of the recommended vote, but try to keep it within scope. So, Mr. Tosta, do you have a point of order?
So can I finish quickly?
Do you have a point of order? Yeah.
If we're trying to give people a chance to redraft this, I think we need to postpone it beyond Monday because they have 48 hours to look at it. And my guess is this stuff isn't going to get done until Monday. We should postpone it to at least Wednesday would be my recommendation.
Yeah, Wednesday, I believe, is budget night. Is that right? Yeah, Wednesday's budget night. And I believe the following Monday, let's say, is Minuteman on the 11th. Is that a Monday? So it would be the Wednesday at the 13th, I think.
Can I change it? Motion?
Yeah.
Right, I move that we postpone till Wednesday, the 13th. So let me give you the true reasons. Now that we've got the clarity, now I can speak without feeling like I'm stepping on the moderator's toes. Look, there's two reasons I think you should vote to postpone. One, right, it's the second night of town meeting. I mean, if this was like the 8th night and we were up here talking about this, you should be like, no, I want to go home. I'm done, move on. It's the second night. We've got a ton of work still to do. It's not impacting anything except like the 5 minutes that I've been up here, okay? And number two, when I was talking to Mr. Morgan, it's a good faith. It wasn't a malicious issue, right? I mean, look, I have been in town meeting. I can't believe I'm going to say this. This is my 20th year in town meeting. So I think I've kind of figured out the rules, because when you hit 20 years, you're not a newbie anymore, but you're not like a grizzled veteran, right? So I think I get the rules. But I think it's an unfair standard to tell a public servant who doesn't deal with all the town meeting stuff that we deal with, oh, sorry, you didn't paint inside the lines correctly. So now we're going to take the entire article that you and the Conservation Commission worked on, and we're going to tank it, right? And personally, I think there are elements of fines and fees that have to go into play. I mean,
so the scope right now for your comments
That's
are just like whether or not we should postpone.
Yeah, but that's why I think we should postpone. I don't think it's a big deal, and I think we should, let the Conservation Commission get together and get it right. Thank you.
Okay, so we have a motion before us with a second to postpone Article, we're on 10, right? Yes, Article 10 until, let's see, Wednesday, do I have the date right? Wednesday the 13th. Let me just double check that. Yes. All those in favor of that postponement of Article 10 say yay. Yay. All those opposed say nay. It is unanimous. It is postponed until Wednesday, May 13th. Okay. Postponed to 13th. Okay. Now that takes us to, and Mr. Benson, you had an amendment which has not been offered yet, but we can figure that out after we have a substitute, because it'll probably need to be a substitute motion on, an amendment to a substitute motion, but we could figure that out offline. In case you'll see that in the tracker or the annotated warrant that there's an amendment on Article 10, that's going to need to be figured out all over again. Okay. So with 10 postponed, that now, we now have, that takes us to Article 21, but we also have Article 16 on the table. And so, Ms. Deschler, I would entertain a motion to remove 16 from the table so we can get back to some semblance of sequential order.
Christine Deschler, Chair of the Finance Committee. I move that Article 16 be removed from the table.
Okay, we have a second to remove Article 16 from the table. All those in favor say yay. Yay. All those opposed say nay. It is unanimous voted. Article 16 is now before us. Let's see. And Article 16 is the one I mentioned in my opening remarks about there was a version inconsistency, and we've discovered that the discrepancy was just in and basically like item numberings. Now I'm told by Ms. Brazil has been updated now in the annotated warrant, so it now matches the select board report as it should. And so we had Article 16 was cut short on Monday night with from a point of order, essentially, that laid it on the table, and there was a motion to terminate debate that was interrupted by that point of order, and so I decided that the fair thing to do is, I don't think we have the speaker queue. Do we have the speaker queue from 16? We do have the speaker queue from 16. Great. So the speaker who, what's that? And there is an amendment, so, okay. So, yeah, this is tricky. So we have a new amendment that came in, but also the speaker who offered the motion to terminate debate, that got interrupted by the point of order. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the practice that we have in the town meeting guidelines is that when we have motions published in advance, we'll take those first, even when we've kind of interrupted an article and resume it on a different night. And so we'll take the presentation of the Fisher amendment first, and then I will take the speaker who offered, Mr. Greenspan, who offered the motion to terminate debate, to give him a redo since I basically nullified his speaking time, to give him that speaking time back. So he can use that to make a motion or to just recover his speaking time. I think that's the fair thing to do in this case. This is a very weird corner case, by the way. So, Mr. Fisher, do you want to come up and introduce your amendment?
I'm sorry for the confusion.
I think we have this, Mr. Fisher.
Oh, Ezra.
Yeah. Yeah, Ezra Fisher, sorry.
Fisher. Ezra Fisher, Precinct 4. I move to amend the main motion by replacing marriage in 3 of the applicable town clerk fees with marriage or domestic partnership. I asked a question about this on Monday, and it does work legally now. There's reference in the domestic partnership bylaw that says, hey, all the fees for domestic partnership are the same as marriage, but I think having it in the main fees helps everyone not feel like they're, in a second-class relationship status, even when they're paying fees. Thanks.
Thank you. And we'll now take Mr. Greenspan to recover his speaking time. Do you have a point of order? Yeah, it's point of order.
Nancy Bloom, Precinct 18. I don't know if this is a point of order, but the time that the parks are open disagree in the fee information and in the article. One says 5 a.m. to 9 p.m., one is a memo, and that one says 6 a.m. to 9 p.m.
These are 2 different points in the bylaws?
One is a memo to Mr. Feeney from the head of Parks and Rec, from yesterday, I think. And the other is in the article. I don't know if...
Yeah, that would be a question to raise during debate, but not really a point of order because it's not really procedural.
Okay, sorry.
Yep, have to go. Mr. Greenspan? Pass. And next in the speaker queue, I think I'm looking at the speaker queue from Article 16 Monday night. Mr. Jameson? Oh yeah, can we show that on here? Yeah. Oh, is that the one I'm looking at here, or? Oh yeah, if you can load that, that'd be great. So Mr. Greenspan passed. Mr. Schlickman?
Point of order, are we debating amendments to a bylaw which will become null and void on the day it arrives at the AG's office because 17 will be approved?
Yes and no. Mr. Cunningham can clarify if we need further clarification, but the Article 17 still has to pass muster with the Massachusetts Attorney General's office. So there's a non-zero, maybe small, but non-zero probability that they reject it on some technical grounds, and so there's no guarantee that the fee changes from Article 16 would be nullified. It may be likely, but it's, yeah. Is that fair, Mr. Cunningham? Okay. Yeah, I mean, okay, and so we're now looking at the speaker queue from Article 16 from Monday night, correct? Okay, Mr. Wagner, you're up again. Okay, Mr. Schlickman? Okay, so I'll save Mr. Schlickman getting back to the podium again. We have motion to terminate debate on all matters under Article 16. Do we have a second? Second. Okay, all those in favor of terminating debate under Article 16, say yay. Yay. All those opposed say nay. It is a 2/3 vote. So we'll first take up a vote on the Fisher Amendment, the Ezra Fisher Amendment. And this would add the language or domestic partnership after birth, death, or marriage, to specify domestic partnership explicitly. So let's bring up a vote on the Fisher Amendment. If you wish to make that change to the main motion, you wish to amend the main motion, vote 1 for yes. If you don't want to make that change to include domestic partnership, press 2 for no, or 3 to abstain. This is a motion to amend the main motion. Okay, and this is a majority vote. And the motion passes 191 in the affirmative, 11 in the negative, 1 abstention. That takes us now to a vote on the main motion as amended. So let's now bring up open voting for the main motion as amended under Article 16, which is a motion to amend Title V, Article 8 of the town bylaws to update wetlands, protection jurisdiction, exemptions, permit processes, hearings. Am I in the wrong one? Oh, I'm looking at the wrong one. Sorry about that. 16. This would, okay, let's leave voting open just a second longer. This would amend Title IX, Article 3 of the town bylaws. Does that sound right? To update existing fee amounts and establish new fees and charges across multiple town departments. If you're in favor of that change, and also includes the change to include or domestic partnerships. If you're in favor of making this change to the town bylaws, press 1 for yes, 2 for no, to leave the bylaws unchanged, or 3 to abstain. Okay, let's get our votes in. Okay, let's close voting. And the main motion as amended passes 190 in the affirmative, 17 in the negative, and 4 abstentions. Okay, so that now takes us, let's see, basically back in order with Article 21. So this is, so Mr. Hurd, do you want to introduce this?
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. John Hurd, Chair of the Select Board. Article 21 was a citizen article by Mr. Hamlin. It came before the board relative to home equity theft. The board voted 5-0 in favor of no action, as is our understanding that home equity theft in these situations is already illegal.
Okay. And so I kept this off of the consent agenda despite it being a no action recommended vote because I reached out to all the petitioners of citizens petitions and asked if they intended to offer substitute motions. Mr. Hamlin did. He did intend to offer a substitute motion. Mr. Hamlin, do you want to speak to this and about whether you have a substitute motion or what the situation is, please?
Guillermo Hamlin, Precinct 14. The intent was to submit a substitute motion. However, after discussing it with the moderator and after consideration from Town Council, the substitute motion that I was going to present was deemed out of scope due to the nature of it being a bylaw amendment, and the substitute motion was fully within a home rule petition, which is categorically different. So as a result, I am proceeding to ask if you may grant me the bandwidth and the privilege to make a motion to postpone, to go back, refine it, punch it up, to then properly present to you what my substitute motion would be. I agree with Mr. Hurd's assessment, other than the fact that what I was hoping to accomplish with my initial bylaw was to create standards that could be done in practice for the town of Arlington. Flexible payments, proactive communication, working with the Council of Aging to make sure that our senior citizens who are house rich, cash poor, have an opportunity to know what their options
So,
are.
Mr. Hammond, we don't need to get...
my apologies.
Yeah, because the scope right now is no action, so it's a question of if you have a motion to postpone or... Yeah.
Yes, I would like to make a motion to postpone. I'll take what was taken earlier to Wednesday, May 13th, to make sure that I have sufficient time to properly review this and to make sure that when this is posted, my fellow town meeting members have sufficient time to read it, comment on it, and to learn about it. Thank you.
Okay, we have a motion to postpone Article 21 until Wednesday, May 21st, is that right?
I thought it was May 13th, yes.
May 13th, yeah. And we have a second. All those in favor of postponing Article 21 to Wednesday, May 13th, say yay. Yay. All those opposed say nay. Nay. Let's put that to a vote. We'll take and this is a majority vote because it's to a date certain. And May 13th will be forever known now as Postponement Day. Okay. If you're in favor of postponing Article 21 to Wednesday, May 13th, press 1 for yes. If you're opposed to postponement, which would leave it as no action tonight, press 2 for no, or 3 to abstain. This is a vote on postponement of Article 21 to Wednesday, May 13th. And it's the quantum is majority. And the vote passes 140 in the affirmative, 61 in the negative, and 6 abstentions. So it is postponed until May 13th. Okay, that takes us to Article 22. Mr. Hurd?
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. John Hurd, Chair of the Select Board. Article 22 is bylaw amendment that was submitted by Ms. Crowder and 10 registered voters. This seeks to increase protection for areas under the jurisdiction of the Park Department. The changes include an expansion of the defined protected areas under the bylaw and an increase in the range of potential fines. The Select Board voted favorable action by a vote of 5-0.
Thank you. And this was a citizen's petition by Ms. Crowder. And Ms. Crowder, I believe you have an amendment to offer. Is that right? And let's see, can we show and open the speaker queue while Ms. Crowder speaks?
Elaine Crowder, Precinct 19. I have a motion to amend the main motion. It is adding a Section 12 severability clause. Should I read it?
Well, we can present it as well.
Okay. So the reason I'm doing this is a reading of the Park section of Massachusetts General Law, Title 7, Chapter 45, suggests that fines for the destruction of property in parks may be capped or preempted in the statute. Not completely certain about this, but in the interest of being cautious, I wanted to add this severability clause that seeks to ensure that other amended language in my amendment for the bylaw in Section 2 remains in force should the AG's office rule that changes to the fine section in Section 11 are preempted. And again, should I read? Oh, you have it?
You have it on the screen. Also, and you have a presentation, right?
Pardon?
You have a presentation as well?
No, this is it.
Okay. Okay, so we have a second on Ms. Crowder's amendment, so that is now before us as well. We have the main motion and the amendment to the main motion. Thank you. Okay, in the speaker queue, we'll take, when we have like fewer than 5 speakers in the queue, I'll just take them in order so we don't have to mess with the shuffle button. And so, was there anything else, Ms. Crowder?
I do have a presentation for my main motion.
Oh, for the main motion, okay. Can we get, you can give that, oh, you might as well just give it, you have 6 minutes left. Do you want to just give that now? Okay. Can we bring up that presentation?
Hello, Elaine Crowder, Precinct 19. I am here to talk about Article 22, which is to update Protection of Parks section, Article 2 of our town bylaws. This includes elements that are typical of city parks, areas for active recreation, and naturalized open space habitats, all of which deserve protection. It's not meant to punish or present an exhaustive list, but rather to raise awareness of what's to be respected and to prompt second thoughts about destroying something given a more stringent fine. Next slide. Here are some images of damage to our parks. A slide nailed to a tree, dangerous holes, the largest of which is 5 by 5 by 3 at Hills Hill. Next. Cars have driven on soccer fields. Treasure hunters have dug them up. Next. Users have built unauthorized and often dangerous structures. This tall jump is in an unsafe location as seen in the photo to the right. Next. The current fine for such things is $20. Next, and next. Next. Looking at the bylaw language, it's a list of prohibited actions and protected resources. I'm concentrating on the latter for this amendment. Next. It mentions things like walkways, lawns, signs, benches, trees and shrubs, all elements of the typical city park. Next. Notably, the list does not mention playing field, court, or playground services, all expensive to maintain, repair, and replace. Next. Nor does it mention the naturalized woodlands and habitats making up 2 entire parks, Turkey Hill and Crusher Lot, and a large sections of at least 5 other of our parks. Next. These stunning spaces include woodlands and trails, aquatic habitats, next, and renewing meadows. Next. Section 2 changes include adding language like trail, woodlands, seen in red, habitat, field, court, and playground services, and in green, an exemption for normal wear and tear associated with intended use. Next. I also added a 4th tier fine of up to $100. This situated between a fine at $50 and the top tier at $300. This $100 fine is for Section 2, protection of parks. The other fines are for other portions of the bylaw. Next. The public voiced 2 main concerns, enforcement and education. Enforcement, of course, of this amendment is really no different than for the underlying bylaw. And really, all of our bylaws are sometimes hard to enforce. We don't always know who has done certain things, nor how to remediate. But this highlights, next, this highlights education as a significant tool. Any bylaw exists to guide the public. But if people don't know about our park bylaw, it can have little effect. Public debate at town meeting here is a first step in increasing awareness. Park and Rec personnel have initiated fantastic user education that includes having responsible adults guide Hills Hill bikers in maintaining the pump track. Care for the woodland trails will be equally important. And Recreation is also offering a responsible fishing class that could reduce wildlife entanglements and deaths around our ponds. So, in conclusion, our green spaces are supported by our tax dollars and are intended for use by all. Enforcement becomes a much simpler proposition when positive public engagement is robust. We all have a role to play. We can do this together. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We'll take Mr. Rudick, followed by Mr. Greenspan.
Hi, Ben Rudick, Precinct 5. Where's the lane that made the...
Oh, that mic is still cutting out,
Oh.
so maybe try another one.
This mic?
Yeah.
This mic?
Yeah.
Oh, hey. Hi, Ben Rudick, Precinct 5. First off, I want to express the support for the idea and the theory behind the proposed warrant article. I think that our parks deserve enormous respect and protection. I would like to, can we bring up the slide with the big hole from the presentation?
Yeah, can we bring up the slides again? One sec.
Yeah, just from the presentation, if you don't mind.
Just give us a sec.
As we're doing that, so I'm an avid mountain biker. I've got 3 little kids, all 3 of which have spent dozens and dozens of hours at the Hills Hill Mountain Bike Park. Tremendous thank you to all of you that have helped make that happen and for town meeting for voting for the funds to allow that to be built. I would make the argument that one of these 3 things is not like the other. There are clear examples of dangerous structures here, of damage to the park, but where did that hole come from? As any of you may know that have moved dirt, a 5 by 5 by 3 hole is a tremendous amount of dirt and very heavy. And where that hole is actually located is in between the trails. And what happened is in my time at Hills Hill, 99% of the maintenance I've seen performed on that pump track has been middle schoolers. And I would say 99% of that maintenance has been phenomenal. I've seen them spend hours and hours and hours raking rocks out of the pump track. I've seen them helping to reshape jumps that were, as the soil settled, a bit too sharp and dangerous. I've seen them doing all sorts of things, and if you go there, you will see that the maintenance that is being done is largely by children, which is, I would say, unique in my experience of any park anywhere, or actually of middle schoolers. I'm not aware of them spending dozens and dozens of hours voluntarily maintaining public resources like these. So in this case, what they did was they needed soil to reshape some of the jumps and constructively repair parts of the pump track, and they did not have the budget to get a dump truck full of soil, so they slowly dug this hole out and used the soil to very proactively, is the nice way to put it, make some changes to the pump track. Now, I have seen them do some very dumb things too. I had to stop them for building a jump directly into a tree, which I pointed out would probably not be good for them or any of the other children using it. Which is all to say, I don't actually have a really good solution to this, because the culture of mountain bike pump tracks, they're dirt surfaces, they're malleable surfaces, and kids like to mess around, to be frank. And they like to build different features. They like to adjust features. That is just part of the culture of dirt pump tracks the world over. And it would hurt me to see these kids that in general are being extremely responsible and very helpful to be sort of fined into oblivion, or their parents, I guess in this case, so that they no longer are engaged in that way. And so I would just say that there are things like this hole that look really bad, obviously a priori bad, that require some particular cultural context to fully understand what is happening here. And so I would just say to whoever is enforcing this or making these decisions about what is intended use or what is appropriate, to make sure that there is appropriate dialogue with the people that know what this means. Would I prefer there not be a hole here? Yes, I would prefer there not be a hole here. But I would hate to see this beautiful impulse to be involved, to take responsibility, to be extinguished. I've seen those kids kick out other kids that brought electric bikes in that were damaging it. I've seen them kick out other kids that were bullying people or otherwise being disrespectful at the pump track. So, you know, anyway, this requires some context that may not be immediately obvious. Thank you.
Next speaker, Mr. Miller. See, do we have a microphone up there, or is it coming? There's a microphone upstairs in the balcony, on the table. And then after Mr. Miller, we'll take Ms. Riches.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Matt Miller, Precinct 11. So, where I grew up, if you commit vandalism, you should be responsible for it. And if we're limiting how responsible you are, is that really benefiting the community? I think that it's very important to remember that if you damage something, you will be held accountable. And I don't think it's fair to say, well, it's only $100. You know, I think that it should be a consideration of what the damage was. And I think that the parents should be responsible when damage is committed. Just like if a child or someone who's not 18 commits a crime against another person, they will be held accountable. And so I think it's important to remember that if we just let people off and say, well, it's not really that bad, then, you know, who's paying for it? We are. I think we need to remember that. And I have a question for the first speaker. How many people have actually been charged more than $100? Can I get a response for that?
Actually, does anyone up here know if anyone's been charged more than $100 in fines?
Good evening, Jim Feeney, Town Manager. I'm not aware of anyone being charged more than $100.
Well, I don't understand why we're even voting on this. If we're not charging people more than 100, why are we setting a precedent to say if somebody burns down a building that's on a park, that's it? You're only charged $100, and the parents aren't responsible. So I urge people to consider that and to remember that we're paying for everything. And if nobody's paying more than $100 anyways, why are we telling people it's okay? That's all I got.
Okay, let's keep the chatter down. Okay, thank you. Ms. Riches, am I pronouncing that correctly? Okay. And then after that, we'll take Ms. Reynolds. I don't think it's on.
Precinct 4.
Yeah.
And my concern is that this fine will do very little to curb any kind of damage to the parks. And it's a very low fine, and if a lot of this damage is being done by minors, they're not going to care about it. The potential downside is that, like many types of fines or regulations that are sporadically enforced, it's going to be unequally applied It's most often teens that are not white that have the police called on them. And my main concern is that this could be applied to homeless individuals who are living in parks or wetlands. They're going to be the easiest people to target with fines, which would just compound their existing issues. So without like a clear benefit to these fines and a clear benefit and outcome, I would not support it unless you can guarantee that this is not going to be used against people who do not have houses, who are just trying to survive. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll take Ms. Reynolds next, followed by Mr. Jamison. Ms. Reynolds? I thought that might be Ms. Reynolds. It is not. Okay, we'll take Mr. Jamison next, followed by Mr. Griffin. Oh, I see some of these are not requests to speak, but some other button had been hit, apparently. Mr. Jamison, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Gordon Jamison, Precinct 12. I rise in support of this article. I think it's important that we amend it as Ms. Crowder, and I thank her for her work in this. I abut Robbins Farm Park, and I used to be a member of the Friends, but I know the Friends work very hard and raise lots of funds to help add different amenities to the playground there. We just spent a huge amount of money, millions of dollars, on that playground, and I want to make sure that it does not get damaged. There had been a history, the new slide is more impermeable to that, of the slide being broken by kids busting the slide, which necessitated the Friends to raise tens of thousands of dollars to replace it and have it not available for long periods of time over the years. So over the 20 years of several rebuilds, I'd say that probably 20% of the time the slide has not been available due to damage. And so I think we need to send a message that's not acceptable. Thank you very much, Mr. Moderator.
Thank you. I'll take Mr. Moore, Mr. Stephen Moore next, followed by Mr. Tosti.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Steve Moore, Precinct 18. Notwithstanding, I appreciate the information that Mr. Rudick provided relative to the culture and how in particular the Hills Hill area is utilized. I was pretty closely involved with the debate that occurred around the establishment of Hills Hill as kind of a multi-use park instead of just a woodland that it was prior to the development of the mountain bike park. A number of points came up during that discussion to do with maintenance, who was going to enforce changes not occurring to the park once it was constructed, which it is now. And by the way, it is a beautiful park. I was very impressed with the way it turned out. However, the concerns about maintenance, upkeep, enforcement were never really adequately addressed by the Parks and Rec Commission, who was behind making all this happen. And again, their effort was that the outcome was excellent. However, some of the implementation of what comes after has been less so, as was evidenced in some of the pictures you see here. Part of the problem in Hills Hill was that a mountain bike trail had been sort of ad hoc popped up, and there was a lot of damage being done to the various woodland. The concentration of the park now in a pump track type area was a way to allow it to be utilized for that purpose, mountain bike, as well as the purpose that other people were using it for, walking their dogs, enjoying nature, enjoying the meadow, all the other uses that are done with that land. However, we still are now having this sort of evolving park and also evolving beyond where the pump track is located into the areas that were supposed to be designed for separate use. So I think this article will go a little bit of a way to trying to limit what seems to be natural to the mountain bike culture of modification of a track, because this is being used by multiple users. This is not just for the mountain bike folks. This is for all the other people who are using it prior to the mountain bike track being constructed. So I think we need to do this to hopefully encourage the ability for multiple use of the park in a fair and balanced way. Thank you, Mr. Moderator.
Thank you. Take Mr. Tosti, followed by Ms. Crowder. Did you need to speak again, or are you all set?
Al Tosti, Precinct 17. I move the previous question on all issues involved in this article.
Okay, we have a motion to terminate debate under Article 22 and a second. All those in favor of terminating debate on Article 22, say yay. Yay. All those opposed, say nay. The yeas have it. It's a 2/3 vote. Debate is terminated. So let's now bring up a vote on the Crowder amendment. And so this would add a severability clause so that if any section, provision, paragraph, sentence, or clause of this bylaw is invalid, it doesn't invalidate other sections, provisions, paragraphs, and so on. So if you're in favor of adding this severability clause to the main motion, press 1 for yes. If you're opposed to adding the severability clause, press 2 for no, or 3 to abstain. Voting is open. Okay, let's close voting. And the amendment passes 168 in the affirmative, 33 in the negative, 11 abstentions. Let's take a vote now on the main motion as amended to include the severability clause. Okay, voting is now open. If you're in favor of the main motion as amended, press 1 for yes. If you're opposed to amending the bylaws, press 2 for no. And this would amend Title 4, Article 1 of the bylaws to expand protections for park areas and clarify violation fines. This is the main motion as amended. Okay, voting is closed. And the motion passes 177 in the affirmative, 33 in the negative, and 4 abstentions. It is a majority vote. So that takes us now to Article 23. Actually, we're coming up on 9:30, so let's take a 10-minute recess. Unfortunately, we don't have any snacks tonight in the side here, so sorry about that. But 10 minutes, we'll come back. Okay, we're back, and we're taking up Article 23. All right, everyone, let's settle down. Everyone get to your seats, please. Mr. Hurd, do you want to introduce Article 23? Okay, let's quiet down, everyone. We need to end our conversations now, please.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator.
Thank you. Let's go.
John Hurt, Chair of the Select Board. Article 23 was a bylaw amendment. It was a citizen article submitted by Ms. Cutraro and Ms. Bergman and 10 registered voters. It seeks to amend the tree preservation bylaw to include trees of 10 dBH and higher in the entire property and not just in the setback area. The Select Board heard this article and applauded the intent of the article to preserve trees, which is in line with Arlington's goal to continue to preserve our tree canopy. We thought it was worth further discussion, but not ripe to be passed at this current town meeting, as it involves a pretty significant change to the current tree protection bylaw, and we wanted to have input from the tree committee, town departments, the tree warden, and have a further discussion to make sure that the changes that are being proposed made sense in connection with the tree protection bylaw. So the select board voted no action by a vote of 5-0 on this one.
Thank you. And we did not get a substitute motion approved in advance, like a business day in advance. But Madam Clerk, did we receive 300 printed copies by 7:30 p.m.? Okay. And so there should have been copies that were printed by the proponents in the back. If you haven't gotten one, well, try not to make a lot of noise when you grab one. And we did post it in the annotated warrant, but it was not announced to the TMM email list because it came in, it was approved past the deadline of yesterday. So we do have so right now the main motion is no action, but we do have the petitioners who are also town meeting members who want to present a substitute motion. Do you want to come up now to offer that? And we have it it's linked from the annotated warrant, so do we have it? Can we bring that up as well on the display? Ms. Bergman and Ms.
Hi.
Cottrell.
Can I make a point of order? Go back.
Okay. And
Sorry. Point of order, which is, I did get a notification from the town this afternoon that it was on the warrant, just a notice.
I'm sorry, what is the point of order?
I thought I did get a notice from the town that it was on the warrant this afternoon.
Oh, did it go out this afternoon? Okay, we get that out on a best effort basis. We don't guarantee that we get it out. Okay.
Okay. Good evening. Robin Bergman, Precinct 12. Thank you for this opportunity to present substitute motion for Article 23. This substitute motion has been endorsed. I have slides. I don't think they're up.
Oh, could we bring the slides up?
The substitute motion has been endorsed by Mothers Out Front, Save Arlington Wildlife, and the Trees as a Public Good statewide network. Thank you. Slide 2. Arlington's tree bylaw has attained significant results since it was passed 10 years ago. But despite these protections, we have still been losing many trees, even in the last 5 years. The threat of a severely warming climate with more severe storms has gotten more dire, and our understanding of what benefits trees provide for climate resilience has increased significantly in these last 10 years. Scientists are telling us that we are running out of time. Slide 3. Trees have enormous benefits for the climate and the environment, as you can see from this list. Slide 4. We are proposing a modest addition to the current bylaw. Our current bylaw protects trees 6 inches DBH and greater located in the setback area of a property during construction and demolition. We propose to extend this protection to trees 10 inches DBH and greater beyond the setback anywhere else on the lot during construction and demolition. All other details adhere to the existing bylaw. Slide 5.
Okay, I'm just going to pause you right there. I paused the timer as well. Sorry for the interruption. Can we clear the speaker queue, please? Because we have requests that are before and after the break. So we'll just clear that out. And if there's a lot of requests, we'll just randomly shuffle them. Let's see, is that being... So I'll let everyone know when it's been cleared. So there's no advantage to clicking in immediately after it opens. And we're going to clear that. Okay, speaker queue's clear, and we'll shuffle it if there's a lot of requests. Okay, Ms. Bergman, apologies for the interruption. Go ahead.
Thank you. Slide 5. Cambridge, Newton, and Brookline all protect trees at 6 inches DBH across all property, not just during construction and not just in the setback. Slide 6. Arlington has lost about 7% of the tree canopy from 2018 to 2023. You can see that this area in East Arlington lost an acre of tree canopy in that period. This is especially worrisome in a neighborhood that had only 14.5% canopy coverage 8 years ago. Scientists recommend at least a 30 to 40% canopy and even a 60% cover for real climate resilience. We know the town's future includes increased construction from the MBTA Communities Act, the anticipated redevelopment of our business districts, and a coming affordable housing overlay. Watching lots be systematically clear-cut, we must act now to keep the town livable. Protecting as much tree canopy as we can is the best way to achieve this. Slide 7. This chart shows how many trees are needed to replace a single large tree or a number of medium-sized trees. You cannot replace the climate benefits of a 20-year-old tree with a sapling. We simply don't have that many large trees in Arlington. Losses of mid-sized trees translate to measurable negative outcomes. Slide 8. How much work does one single tree do? This 13-inch DBH sweet gum does so much for the neighborhood by considerably reducing heat enough to save energy for both houses, diverting stormwater from streets and drains and removing CO2 and other pollutants. Loss of one tree affects the heat, air quality, and flooding for multiple properties. This stresses how important it is to protect our mid-sized trees in addition to our largest ones. Slide 9. Most of our unprotected trees are in the range of 10 to 25 inches DBH. These trees will become the larger canopy trees of the near future and are already delivering significant benefits today. Slide 10. Our current protection is effective. Available compiled public records show that within setbacks, show that only 14% of the protected trees within setbacks were removed from 2023 to 2025. But beyond setbacks, 80% of the trees were removed. This is where we're losing most of our trees, and our bylaw addition would encourage us to save as many as possible and mitigate for those we can't save. Slide 11. We must find a way to continue to build and protect the tree canopy. It's not either or. Our proposal simply adds protections to additional trees that, when removed, also require a tree plan and mitigation. This is not to place a burden on responsible development. It's to recognize that trees benefit the whole neighborhood. Trees are a public good. We respectfully ask for your yes vote on our substitute motion, and to quote our climate champion, slide 12, Senator Ed Markey, while we invest in new trees, we can't cut down mature trees because mature trees store more carbon and provide relief from the urban heat island effect. We can and must have both trees and housing. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And Ms. Bergen, before you leave the podium, can you make your motion and make sure we have a second for that?
Yes. Yeah. So I make a motion to change the bylaw in the definition.
Actually, it's a substitute. Just
substitute
move to
motion.
substitute.
I move my substitute motion for Article 23.
Great. And we have a second. Thank you. It is now before us. So we have the main motion and of no action and the substitute, the Cotrero-Bergman substitute motion on top of that. Okay, and let's switch over to the speaker queue. We have two speakers, two speaking requests. Ms. Stamps, followed by Ms. Popova. And the queue was open several minutes ago.
Hi, I'm Susan Stamps, Precinct 3, and a member of the tree committee before it went through reorganization, and hopefully a member after. Doing something that, as Robin suggests, is very attractive to the tree committee. Of course, we'd love to save a whole bunch more trees. The problem is that we also want builders to be able to build the housing we need in Arlington. And right now, the setbacks are the main protectors from one property to another. They're the most important areas. when you start going into the interior of the property, then what are you doing? Are you minimizing the amount of building that somebody can put there? Is that in the best interest of the town? The proposal was not brought.
Sorry, Ms. Dempsey, just up just a few inches away from the microphone because it's popping a lot.
Okay, sorry. Someone came once to the tree committee in January, I think it was, and we said, well, we had a lot of questions about it, and then there wasn't any further discussion. The tree warden is an extremely busy person. He's the only person who looks at the tree plants under the tree bylaw and makes all the decisions. And the idea of adding lots and lots more trees for him to evaluate, we're not ready for it. We don't know what the economic impact would be on the developers. We don't want to make development in Arlington uneconomic. That is not in the best interest of the town for many reasons. By the way, a lot of new trees do not show up on the LiDAR until they get pretty big. We do plant 300 trees a year, and we know that there are trees in the ground. We know trees in our neighborhoods that are not showing up on the LiDAR numbers because they're not big enough. So just so you know, we've been planting a lot of trees. And as Robin pointed out, rightfully, we've lost very few trees this year because the developers have figured out how to work around the tree bylaw. And this is just a big, huge change that the town is not ready for. Maybe we'll be ready for it next year. We can have a year to figure it out. Somerville and Cambridge and a couple of other have had all the trees protected for several years, but they have urban forest planners, they have huge tree departments. We have like a tree warden and 2 or 3 people to help him. So for all these reasons, even though I greatly respect and appreciate the what's the word I'm looking for, the respect for trees and the need for trees in our community shown by the proponents, the time isn't right. We need to work with the developers to figure out what's going to work for them, just like we did when we got the tree bylaw passed in 2019. The select board made us go talk to the developers, and that's what we need to do again, as well as other considerations. So I urge you to vote no on this, sadly. Thank you.
Thank you. So Ms. Popova next, followed by Ms. Cotrero. And while the next speaker is coming up to the podium, we have a long speaker queue here. We could show that right now, please. It's a long speaker queue. So while you're waiting, if you're in the speaker queue, when you're waiting for your turn to speak, please listen to the previous speakers to make sure that you're not repeating points. It is totally honorable and noble to pass your turn if someone's already made those points going forward. Thank you. Ms. Popova, go ahead. Point of order? Yeah. Ms. Dre?
Elizabeth Dre? Yeah, Precinct 10.
It's on.
Mr. Moderator, you spoke earlier about doing a shuffle of speakers. I'm wondering if that's going to be shuffled.
Oh, maybe there must have been a misunderstanding here, because great question. My intention, which I probably wasn't clear enough about, was that while we're getting speaking requests in during kind of the initial presentation, like we had with the substitute motion, that folks can click in, and then after that I would shuffle it, but there were like only 2 or 3 speakers at that point, and then a bunch of people clicked in. So I think because of that confusion, I think it is fair at this point to just shuffle the queue, because I think that message didn't really get through. Is that?
Whatever you want to do is fine. I was just looking for clarification. Thank you.
Yeah, but so going forward, when I open the speaker queue, and I kind of did it delayed and apologize for that. The intention is to open the speaker queue before we have like the initial speaker ahead of the speaker queue for the presentation, and folks can click in, and then after that presentation, we'll switch over to the speaker queue, and then we'll shuffle. But when the presentation for the substitute motion finished, there were only like 2 or 3 speakers in the queue, so it didn't make sense to shuffle, so I didn't. So can we just let's go ahead and shuffle right now, And hopefully that's more clear going forward. There's a shuffle button, but there's no repeat, by the way. Yeah, point of order, Ms. Bergman?
Since you had already mentioned that Marina would be next and Jenny would be after her, can you honor that and then continue?
Yeah, who did I say was after you, Ms. Popova? Do you remember?
I believe it was Ms. Cottrell.
Yeah, we can take Ms. Cottrell next, and then we'll follow the random shuffle. Yeah, go ahead.
Can I speak?
Yep.
Okay. Marina Popova, Precinct 13. I speak for myself and not as a member of any committee, organization, or group that I might be. So I just wanted to clarify 2 points because I was kind of getting questions and emails. So the point number 1 is that this change in the bylaw, it does not affect private property owners whatsoever. So if you're a private property owner, you are welcome, well, not welcome, of course, but you can cut your trees in your backyard as much as you want. I really hope you won't do that, but you can. So that bylaw does not affect that. So this bylaw only gets kicked in when it is a major redevelopment, just as our main bylaw, tree bylaw, is right now. So that's the point number 1. The point number 2 is I just wanted to give you an example of how that would actually help in the current situation. Many of you are aware of the issue with the 307 Washington Street, which is mostly a wooded lot, and where the Boston Gas wants to build a new facility, even though they already have one right next to it. So currently, if you look at the plan of that 307 Washington Street redevelopment, the only trees that are even on the plan are the ones that are within the setback, and it's like about 20 or so. I mean, it's still a lot, but, and that's the only one that they would actually have to pay the fee for cutting. Now, don't make any mistake. It's not that they're not going to cut them. They will cut them. It's just that for those specific set of trees in the setback, they would have to pay a fee for that. So if that bylaw already was in effect, what Robin and Jenny are proposing, then they would have to pay for the whole 16,000 square feet of trees on that lot. Now, would they do that still? Probably they would, but maybe then it would be a great incentive for them to reconsider and maybe move that main new facility from the middle of the lot, which is where most of the trees are, much closer maybe to the Washington Street. And instead of cutting 16,000 square feet of trees, maybe they would cut only 8,000 square feet. So that is the whole point, that this is not preventing any development. It just kind of makes an incentive for developers to maybe prioritize trees a little bit more and find alternatives that would cause less damage than what otherwise is just free for them, right? So that's my point number 2. So I really hope that you will support this. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll take Ms. Cottrell next, and then followed by Mr. Benson.
Hi, Jenny Cottrell, Precinct 11. I'm the co-author of this along with Robin. I also wanted to make one point to clarify that nothing about this proposal would prohibit any builder from removing trees if necessary. It mitigates for the loss of those trees with fees that then go into a fund to replace trees and do more planting in town to replace that canopy. I'm also up here to share with you one of the letters of support that we received. This is from the organization Mothers Out Front. I'll begin now. We, Mothers Out Front Arlington, are a group of mothers and other caregivers working together to ensure a livable climate for all children today and into the future. Maintaining and expanding our urban tree canopy is a vital investment in our children's health. Therefore, we support Article 23 substitute motion by Robin Bergman and Jennifer Cottrell to amend Article 16 in Arlington's bylaws. Trees are critical infrastructure for Arlington's climate resilience.
They sink carbon, provide increasingly important shade as the planet warms, and intercept stormwater. Analysis of town data shows that between 2023 and 25, for 71 properties surveyed, only 14% of trees on protected parts of properties were removed during construction, compared to 80% on unprotected parts of properties. This data shows that our town bylaws are effective, and we must do much more to preserve more trees and increase our climate resilience. Article 23 substitute motion is one step we can take this year to ensure fewer mature trees are removed as Arlington continues to develop and grow. And Mothers Out Front also wanted to note, and Robin and I agree with this as well, we acknowledge the importance of increasing Arlington's affordable housing, our public transit accessible housing supply. This substitute motion is not meant to halt development, rather it is meant to encourage more thoughtful planning that prioritizes preserving mature trees, or when removal is unavoidable, investing in replacement canopy as an alternative. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll take Mr. Benson, followed by Mr. Jameson.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Eugene Benson, Precinct 10. I urge you to vote no on this substitute motion.
Yeah, can you align the mic with
I urge you to vote no on this substitute motion. I am a lover of trees and mature trees. I have 12 mature trees on my little lot around my house, 3 red maples and 9 white oaks that all tower over the house. And we've done whatever we could over the past 36 years to keep them healthy and to keep them there. However, I oppose this substitute motion for a number of reasons. Number one, it does affect you on your private property. If you're not doing anything with your house, sure, you can cut down all the trees on your private property. But if you want to expand your house by 50% or more, this would kick in. Now, how much would it cost you, do you think, if you had 2 trees that were only 10-inch around at height? $3,750 per tree. So you can start adding that up if you get trees that are greater than 10 inches in diameter and more than that. There was a lovely young couple in my neighborhood that bought a house a few years ago, and they had it torn down and a really nice new house built in its place. If this were in place, they would have had to pay thousands and thousands and thousands, tens of thousands, maybe even 100,000 additional in order to get their house built. I don't think it's our job to say to people that they can't cut down trees that they need to cut down in order to build a house or to build their new house. Let me give you another example, accessory dwelling units. If you have a house of 1,000 square feet, you can build an accessory dwelling unit 50% the size, that's 500 square feet, or 900 square feet. That would kick in this bylaw. If you wanted to build an accessory dwelling unit and you had some trees there, you would be paying for removal of those trees. I also have a question for town council. As we know, there are state rules that make it difficult for towns to discourage or prevent accessory dwelling units from getting built. Because this has the potential to require people to pay more money than they would otherwise, do you think this might violate the state rules for ADUs?
The question to me, I will defer to Mr. Cunningham.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Michael Cunningham, Town Council. And thank you, Mr. Benson, for the question. I think it's untested. Obviously, the ADU regulations are fairly new at the state level. Our tree preservation bylaw sets forth the applicability provisions in Section 3, and clearly this may impact some ADU developments in the future, given those 3 applicability provisions, and whether that's going to present a problem with the state, unknown at this time.
Thank you. Appreciate that information. In conclusion, I think there's a way to protect more trees. Right now, trees are protected in the setback. Those wonderful letters we got that said we need to preserve the trees, we need to understand this isn't preserving those trees. Those trees can still be completely cut down and demolished. The developers just have to pay the cost for each of the trees that goes into the town tree fund. And as you heard from Ms. Stamps, currently the town doesn't really have a process to deal with them in any rational way. I think the select board was correct in saying, let's give this some more time to look at it, and let's see if we can come up with something that's really workable. Under these circumstances, I urge you to vote no. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Benson. Next we'll take Mr. Jamison, followed by Dr. Brennice.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Gordon Jamison, Precinct 12. I want to commend the tree committee and our wonderful tree warden for the work that they do. I was driving around town recently and I saw them with the backhoe putting in many of the trees that they planted in the spring. And everyone at home should remember to water the new trees, even if they're more than a year old, in front of their home, to make sure they make it. I'm concerned about growth. I am on the Board of Assessors, and from that oblique angle, if we don't have growth, we get what we just passed. We get overrides. You have a choice, development or overrides. That's the thing there.
And you're going to steer this quickly into scope, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, that was mentioned earlier by the proponents, I think, or something. But my biggest question here is, the proponents state that the change standardized the text added to match the language of the original bylaw. My question is that true, and why was it changed to the current language?
Can you restate the question? Why was what changed exactly?
The comment line on the substitute motion. This change standardizes the text added to match the language of the original bylaw. My question is that true, and why was the original text changed?
Yeah, I mean, the comment I don't consider relevant to scope. Does one of the movers wish to explain what that is, and we can attempt to fact check that? Ms. Bergman?
It was actually to
name and precinct, please.
Oh, Robin Bergman, Precinct 12. It was actually pertaining to the original motion that we put in. We made a slight change between what we put in and what we submitted now as a substitute motion. So there was a confusion there.
So it was or was not in the bylaw? Like the original is referring to an original draft of the motion, or?
Yes.
The bylaw?
The original draft of the motion, the way it was phrased, it was not consistent with the bylaw. We corrected that, so it was in keeping with the way that the actual bylaw existing is written.
Okay, so this was not in the original bylaw. I urge a vote against this, and we'll let them come back with more data from the tree committee. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Brennice, followed by Mr. Hanlon.
Hi, Rebecca Bernice, Precinct 9. I just have two questions. One is, I think there's some confusion to me about the definition of private land here, because it's not going to apply to private land, but I think in the language that I saw, it sort of explicitly, I don't know, I don't understand what is excluded or included. And the other question that I have is just why the decision for it to be only construction and demolition, and not any clear cutting on any private or not private property? And could that maybe incentivize people to clear cut before before announcing whatever sort of other construction, demolition, or any other change? And I don't know, would the trees not be valuable even if there wasn't construction and demolition to follow? So those are my questions.
So is your question about this, like why this is in the bylaws currently? Because that doesn't appear to be changed with this substitute motion, right? Like this, the substitute motion would add the text, and any tree with a DBH of 10 inches or greater located anywhere else on the lot. But it doesn't change. So, so to your first question, you wanted to know like about the definition of private property?
Yeah.
That this would apply to. Mr. Cunningham, do you want to answer that? And then we'll get to your second question.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Michael Cunningham, Town Council. If there's any confusion, hopefully there is not, but this would apply if passed to private property.
So any private property this applies to, but it only applies to construction and demolition, and not like if I had 3 acres and just wanted to cut down all the trees, I could do that, as long as I'm not constructing or demolishing.
Mr. Cunningham, did you follow that question?
I think so, but I would refer the member to the applicability provisions that are already contained in our tree preservation bylaw, which are in section 3.
Mhm.
So those are the specific circumstances when this particular bylaw would kick in.
So the construction demolition is pertinent to the previous bylaw. This doesn't change that, and that's why that's carried through? Okay.
Yeah, yes, I just waiting
Sounds
for the
like the
moderator.
question. The answer is yes.
Technically, I can't speak until the moderator
Yeah.
tells me I can.
Yes. Sorry. Okay.
You're correct, that
Okay.
the applicability provisions have not changed. The proponent's draft motion only changes the earlier section that talks about what trees apply. And
So
they're applying,
the 10-inch DBH isn't only changed.
they're changing it to 10 dBH, and that would apply property-wide, as opposed to presently where it's only in the setback area.
Even if not in the setback.
Okay. All right. Thank you for answering my question.
Thank you. Let's see, Mr. Hanlon next, followed by Mr. Baudouin. Yeah, the left or center mic seem to be working fine. Yeah.
I'm Pat Hanlon from Precinct 5. I had a couple of questions that, at least for me, would make this a little...
Yeah, can you speak a little closer to the mic, please?
Okay. I have a couple of questions that, that Mr. Moderator, I'd like to address to you, to give to whoever is the right person to do it. According to the report of the Select Board, this is not the time to do this because there's much other study and work that needs to be done in order to evaluate exactly what to do and what to do further in order to accommodate a bylaw of this kind. And Mr. Moderator, I wonder if anyone speaking for the town could explain what it is they have in mind doing over the next year or so to prepare the way for a point where this would be mature and ready to give to town meeting.
Mr. Feeney, is there anything the town is planning to do in this area over the next year? I guess, assuming no changes to the bylaw, like if the bylaw remains in its current form?
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Moderator. One thing I could foresee us doing is for projects for which a tree plan would be applicable in the coming year, we could evaluate not just the trees in the setback, but also look at the trees on the interior of the lot to determine what the impacts would have been had this bylaw been in effect.
Mr. Moderator, I wonder, is that the
microphone,
is
please?
that the complete list, or are there other things that might be done? There were some suggestions that other towns that have done a great deal in this already have more staff to do it, and so on. And I was wondering if there's anything other than anything left to be done that is other than what Mr. Feeney just now mentioned.
I believe, Mr. Feeney, is there anything to add to that plan? No? Mr. Hurd?
John Hurd, Chair of the Select Board. I think what we had talked about at the Select Board is whether we incorporate the tree committee, town staff, have discussions with residents, have a more robust discussion about the impact of what this new bylaw change would have and whether it's right for the town. And then if it were to come back at a subsequent town meeting, we would have a little more information. Whereas in this situation, it was a citizen article that came to us for hearing without really, not that you need months and months, but whatever, the process would be to get all the interested stakeholders involved, just to make sure that we're not passing something that becomes, causes issues that were not foreseeable as we sit here today. So it was just the general idea of the select board at the hearing that we needed more information and we needed to talk to the tree department, have this vetted by the tree committee in full, and whatever discussions need to make. I don't think we can sit here and give an exhaustive list of everything that will be done. It was our impression that it needed a little more time to vet the bylaw change.
Mr. Moderator, I wonder, what we've been talking about are things that could be done.
Yeah, microphone, please.
We've been talking about things that could be done, and I guess the question I have in my mind is, if this were to be turned down by this body today, could you say that at least any substantial portion of what you've described would be done?
I mean, we're starting to tiptoe, or maybe even walk a little bit outside of scope as far as counterfactuals of what the town may or may not do in reaction to a negative action under this article, but I think it's still useful for the body to contemplate. I just don't want us to spend time on like lots of hypothetical counterfactual scenarios that the town doesn't seem to have at least in my hearing, an explicit detailed plan for, but more of a concept of a plan for handling this.
Yes. Mr. Chairman, I think that you've made
do you have a point of order? Can you? Yeah,
Mr. Chairman,
folks can't hear you, so can you go to the
Mr.
microphone?
Moderator, if I could, I think I can forestall Mr. Moore's issue on. Now, the one question I had left.
Do you want to make your point of order? Or? Yeah.
Mr. Moderator,
Name and precinct.
I rise, Steve Moore, Precinct 18. I rise to make a point of order that the tree committee's been mentioned 3 times now about this particular article. We were all set to speak on it early in the queue until you re-wickered it and pushed the people who are going to speak to the end. So now we don't have the opportunity. We'd like to present our input to this.
Okay, we're not going to do that from a point of order, though. I appreciate that. Okay.
Mr. Chairman, if I could maybe try to unscramble those eggs, the last question I intended to ask is that there have been several mentions of the tree committee before and that it didn't take a position earlier, and I wonder if the tree committee has any a position now or has any advice to give to the board.
Mr. Moore, you're a member of the tree committee? Does someone want to? Yeah, the chair of the tree committee, please. You have a minute under Mr. Hanlon's time.
So the tree committee was very instrumental in getting the bylaw.
Name and precinct, please.
Keith Snebley, Precinct 5. I'm also co-chair of the Arlington Tree Committee. We're very instrumental, long before I was on the committee, in getting the bylaw passed. We are very careful every year to vet a wide range of options on what we want to do and bring to town meeting. We've amended it 3 times. We've greatly improved it. A lot of what we've done has contributed to some of the great work that you guys have shown the benefits of this bylaw. We really would like to work closely with you, as the select board has suggested, to come up with a proposal for next year's that we can bring all the data together and present to town. I don't have an exhaustive list for you.
Okay, and Mr. Hanlon, you're out of time. So usually we don't yield time from one town meeting member yielding time to another town meeting member. In this case, though, it was in your capacity, I believe, as the co-chair of the tree committee, and so that I would allow. So if anyone has further questions, they can feel free to do that.
Mr. Snebley speak in the same way that
Okay.
he did.
Great, thank you. Let's see, next we have Mr. Baudouin, followed by Mr. Holland. Also, feel free to, you can direct the question should be directed to me, but you can suggest perhaps a member of the tree committee, or perhaps someone from a member of some other committee could answer questions. You can suggest recipients of the question. You just can't ask them directly. Mr. Baudouin, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Vincent Baudouin, Precinct 1. I call the previous question.
And presumably all matters before it, because we have a main motion and a substitute motion. Yes, we have a motion to terminate debate under Article 23, and we have a second. All those in terminating debate, say yay. Yay. All those opposed, say nay. Nay. Debate will continue. Okay, let's take a vote. Let's take an electronic vote. For the record, yay and nay to solve none of the problems of yes versus no. Okay, voting is open. If you wish to terminate debate under Article 23, press 1 for yes. If you want to continue debate, press 2 for no, or 3 to abstain. And this is a 2/3 vote. Let's try to do this quick. Get your votes in 5 seconds. We're going to close voting in 3, 2, 1. Let's close. And debate is terminated. 163 in the affirmative, 47 in the negative, 1 abstention. So we'll first take a vote on the substitute motion. This is a vote whether to substitute the Cotrero-Bergman substitute motion to replace the main motion. So let's take a vote, and this is a majority vote. Okay, and voting is now open on the substitute. If you wish to substitute the substitute motion to replace the main motion, press 1 for yes. If you want to keep the main motion no action, press 2 for no, or 3 to abstain. Okay, let's close voting. Or I guess the light is off. Okay. And the substitute motion fails. 67 in the affirmative, 132 to negative, 2 abstentions. So the main motion is still no action. So we'll just take this by voice vote. All those in favor of no action, it doesn't really matter how you vote, say yay. Yay. All those opposed, say nay. It is a majority no action vote. That takes us to Article 24. Mr. Hurd, please. Oh, and can we show the speaker queue and open the speaker queue? And so if you want to be in this first batch of speakers that'll get shuffled, now is your time while Mr. Hurd's speaking. Mr. Hurd, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. John Hurd, Chair of the Select Board. Article 24 is a bylaw amendment to create a revolving fund for 17 Irving Street. This is a town-owned property that is now being rented out, so the revolving fund would be used to collect any income from the property and then go back into the property for upkeep and maintenance. The Select Board voted favorable action by a vote of 5-0.
Okay, thank you. And we have Mr. Foskett. You're the sole entry in the speaker queue. Go ahead. Where's Mr. Foskett? There he is.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Mr. Moderator, Charles Foskett, Precinct 10. The Balkans are a land in Southeast Europe that led to a term popularly referred to as balkanization because of some political actions that took place in the early 20th century, dividing the territory up into competing silos, if you will, of countries that led to a lot of problems. I refer to this because this article is one of the many cases that we have in our bylaws that balkanizes our revenues. I believe it's a serious strategic error. By confining the revenues from this building to the uses as described in the article means that forever those funds cannot be used for any other pressing need in the town. Suppose we needed more police officers or more EMT drivers or more teachers, or needed to improve a school. The funds would not be available. We do this, we have done this in the past, we do it in a number of different cases. I don't know how to undo it, but I don't think we should make the practice worse. So I strongly urge you to turn this down. The funds will still come into the general fund. We have a highly paid management staff that can make decisions about how to use that money. We have a capital planning committee that can plan the capital needs associated with the town's building, in this case, the Parmenta School. But we should not segregate these funds so they can never be used by the town for any other worthy purpose. So I strongly urge that you vote against this article. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Foskett. I'll take Mr. Greenspan, followed by Ms. LaCourte. There's only, looks like, 5 speakers in the queue, so we'll just take them in order. Mr. Greenspan, followed by Ms. LaCourte.
Andy Greenspan, Precinct 5. A couple quick questions to the moderator. Do we know what motivated adding this revolving fund now compared to any other prior year? Did something specifically change?
Can you move to another microphone? I think that one's still cutting out. Sorry about that. Let's see. I don't know the answer. Mr. Feeney, do you know the answer? Can you use the left microphone? Thanks.
Jim Feeney, Town Manager. So we did recently execute a long-term 15-year lease with the Arlington Children's Center at the Parmenter School, and there are 2 particular provisions of that lease which will be aided by this bylaw. One is such that they will pay for various utilities, but there is no submetering in the building, so the town pays the utilities when we get the bill as the customer, and then the respective share to the tenants in the buildings is apportioned proportionate to the square footage that each tenant occupies. So we would pay the bill, we submit an invoice to the tenant, and that money would come back into the revolving fund and be used to pay the utility bill in the next month. And the other is the tenant is required to make a capital contribution paid monthly for capital projects within that building. So this fund would be used to segregate those funds that are intended for capital projects on that building to offset debt service that would otherwise be paid for by the general fund in future years for those capital projects. The rent for the building still goes to the general fund as a local receipt.
I guess to the Mr. Moderator also, what would be the implications if we didn't approve this revolving fund? How would those monies just described be distributed or allocated or figured out?
Mr. Feeney, do you have an answer to that question?
So as of right now, and as is happening today, they would just be deposited into the general fund, and the utilities are going to be getting paid by the general fund budget of the facilities department. And then the capital contribution is simply going into the general fund, and we don't have an accounting mechanism presently to ensure that each dollar that's being deposited there is then being reinvested back into the building.
Okay, thanks. I support this revolving fund then. We should be trying to more specifically maintain our publicly owned buildings, and this would be a way to ensure that occurs. I have another general question. I feel like this comes up every year about revolving funds. Do revolving funds have to be renewed by town meeting every year by us?
Yeah, Mr. Cunningham or Mr. Feeney, can you answer that question?
Jim Feeney, Town Manager. Revolving funds have to be reauthorized each year with an expenditure cap set by this body.
Okay, so basically, to Mr. Moderator, every year we can decide whether this revolving fund or any of them are being used as we, the town, would like them to be used.
That's my understanding.
Okay, so then I think the prior speaker's argument is not particularly valid because we could just choose to let said revolving funds or any revolving fund expire if we feel they're being used improperly. So I support this revolving fund. Thanks.
Thank you. Ms. LaCourte next, followed by Mr. Jameson.
Annie LaCourte, Precinct 13. Mr. Moderator, could we just clarify something that I believe the town manager just said, which is that the monies that will be segregated in this revolving fund are capital contributions and utility payments, but not the rent on the building?
Mr. Feeney, can you clarify that? Does it cover the rent on the building?
That is correct. The general base rent paid monthly will continue to be a local receipt to the general fund.
And we have an obligation to the tenants to spend their capital contributions on capital improvements to the building.
Was that a question or a statement?
Question.
Mr. Feeney, do you know the answer to that question?
Sorry.
That is my understanding of the lease, yes.
So if we put those capital contributions into the general fund and we lose track of them in some way, then we run the risk of failing to meet our obligations to our tenants, yes?
Mr. Feeney, is that correct?
Sorry, I'm sorry, Mr. Feeney, I should have just had you stay there.
Perhaps, yes.
Perhaps yes. Thank you very much. I'll be voting yes.
Point of order?
Fatan Limani, Precinct 15. Can we have the speaker's queue all the time on the screen, please?
Yeah, we can show that right now. Yeah, speaker queue,
Thank you.
please. Thank you. Let's see, we'll take Mr. Jameson, followed by Mr. Moore, Christopher Moore.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Gordon Jameson, Precinct 12. What I heard the manager say with the rentals will go into the general funds, but the capital and utilities will go into the revolving fund. The article states that rentals and lease of the town money will go into this fund. Could we clear up the discrepancy, please?
Can you repeat the discrepancy?
Well, right on column 3 in the section of 17 Irving, it says under the column of fees, charges, and other receipts credited to fund, it says rentals and lease of the town-owned property located at 17 Irving Street, which I assume also includes the capital costs
so this is
and
the
utilities.
So just to make sure we're all looking at the same thing, this is, let's see, from the annotated warrant, there's where is it?
I'm looking at the printed copy, page 50. Is that the right? I'm in the right.
This is the chart that you're looking at?
Yes.
Yeah. And so the bottom row, which would be added by this motion, this main motion, that bottom row, the third column that says rentals and lease of the town-owned property located at 11 Irving Street. And the title of that column is fees, charges, or other receipts credited to fund, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. And so can you restate the question now?
The manager stated that only the capital contribution and utilities will be deposited in the fund. The rest would go to the general fund. I think the article states exactly the opposite. Everything will go in the revolving fund.
So you're not referring, when you say article, you mean the vote language?
The vote language,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay.
It says rentals and lease of the town-owned property located at 17 Irving Street.
Mr. Feeney, do you have comment on what Mr. Jameson describes as a discrepancy?
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Jim Feeney, Town Manager. I can see what you're saying, that language is in that table, a bit generic, but is the intention to capture only those two particular receipts that flow from the lease of that building.
Yes, but you stated that only capital and utilities will go in this fund. The rest will go to the general fund. This contradicts that directly by my reading.
When you say you, that's directed to me. I did not
Yes,
say that, but.
yeah, yes, Mr. Moderator.
Mr. Feeney, Mr. Feeney, is there, do you have any clarification on that? Mr. Cunningham?
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Michael Cunningham, Town Council. In response to Mr. Jameson's question, I appreciate the language and how it looks there. I think that the manager, with his answer to your last question, clarified, at least in my mind, that it was going to be for specific purposes. And the rental is obviously a significant amount of money. And this is the creation, this bylaw seeks to create the revolving fund. It would still be subject to the expenditure cap we talked about earlier. So certainly that could be a way for town meeting to restrict how much is going to be available, and that would eliminate the use of the rental, which is the bulk of the earned income from that property.
And speaking of that, Mr. Moderator, what is the expenditure cap for this revolving fund, which is not stated in the table?
Mr. Feeney or Mr. Cunningham? Do you have the answer to the question? What is the cap, if any, on the revolving fund?
We usually, with all deference to the comment from the Mr. Toski, we usually specify what the expenditures might be.
So we would do that next year once the revolving fund is established. And then we would set the expenditure cap. I would imagine it would be, I think the capital contribution amounts to roughly $40,000 annually, and I have to imagine the utilities may be, I don't have that number specifically off the top of my head, but I would envision it to be at or under $100,000 annually once established.
Okay, and one last question, Mr. Moderator, quickly. Is it the general practice that these funds not get rental fees directly deposited in them? Or is that not the case?
Mr. Cunningham or Mr. Feeney, do you have an answer?
In other words, the question is, do rental fees generally go to the general fund, or do they go into revolving funds so listed above?
Mr. Feeney?
It is generally the case that rents paid under a lease for long-term are general fund receipts.
Thank you very much, Mr. Feeney. Thank you very much, Mr. Moderator.
Thank you. And Mr. Cunningham, did you have a clarification to make? Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Michael Cunningham, Town Council. Just a clarification, the response to the second to last question you asked, Mr. Jameson, why there is no expenditure cap in this particular article. I think the manager answered it, but this is the creation of the revolving fund, or that's what town meeting is considering. Article 36 deals annually with our revolving funds, all of them, so this would be part of an annual revolving fund warrant article if passed next year. That's why there's no cap there now.
Thank you for the clarification, Mr. Cunningham. Thank you, Mr. Moderator.
Thank you. Mr. Moore.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Christopher Moore, Precinct 14, and also Chair of the Capital Planning Committee. Just to make clear why it's important that the capital contributions be captured in this way. If they go to the general fund, then town expenditures can go up a little bit, and the capital budget is set at 5% of town expenditures. So we get a nickel on the dollar. And the rest of the capital work would have to be done by shorting some other capital work elsewhere in the town. So capturing the capital contribution in a fund like this means that we don't have to spend money that could have gone to other capital projects. We can spend that money directly on this project, and then other projects are unaffected. Thank you.
Thank you. Take Ms. Macaluso, followed by Ms. Sadat.
Remy Macaluso, Precinct 3. I call the question.
Okay. That was a satellite room. It wasn't a voice from the heavens. Okay, we have a motion to terminate debate under Article 24, and we have a second. All those in favor of terminating debate, say yay. Yay. All those opposed, say nay. It is unanimous, it sounds like. It's a 2/3 vote, and so we will proceed now to a vote on the main motion of Article 24. This would amend Title I, Article 22, Section 5 of the town bylaws to establish a revolving fund. We haven't opened voting yet, you're just entering the speaker queue. Green light isn't on yet. Establish a revolving fund for the maintenance of 17 Irving Street using its rental receipts. Okay. Voting is now open. If you're in support of this change to the bylaws, press 1 for yes. If you're opposed to this bylaw change, press 2 for no or 3 to abstain. There's a majority vote. Okay, let's close. Well, let's just give a few more seconds. There's still votes coming in. Okay, let's close voting now. And the vote passes. 169 in the affirmative, 24 in the negative, and 2 abstentions. That is a majority vote. Takes us to Article 25. Mr. Hurd.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. John Hurd, Chair of the Select Board. Article 25 is a bylaw amendment similar to the last one to create a revolving fund. This one's relative to the community center that's been recently renovated at 27 Maple Street. There's been more activity there, and it's been, with the recent renovation, it's more attractive for groups to rent out the space. So we're seeking to also create a revolving fund for that space.
Thank you. And was there anything else?
The Select Board voted 5-0 favorable action. I don't think I said that in the last one.
Thank you. Can we switch over to speaker queue? Sorry, I didn't open that, clear it earlier. Let's go to speaker queue and just clear it. And speaker queue is now open for Article 25. If you wish to speak on Article 25, now's your chance. Seeing none, we are going to proceed to a vote on the main motion of Article 25, which, let's bring up a voting screen. This would seek to amend Title I, Article 22, Section 5 of the town bylaws to create a revolving fund for community center upkeep. Okay, you're currently entering the speaker queue. If you're hitting any buttons, just wait for the green light to come on and for the voting slide to appear. Okay, voting is now open. If you're in favor of this change to the town bylaws to create a revolving fund for community center upkeep, press 1 for yes. If you're opposed to this change to the bylaws, press 2 for no or 3 to abstain. Okay, let's close voting. And the motion passes. 174 in the affirmative, 11 negative, 4 abstentions. It is a majority vote. That takes us to Article 26. Mr. Hurd, and while Mr. Hurd gets up, let's clear the speaker queue.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. John Hurd, Chair of the Select Board. Article 26 is a bylaw amendment, also involving revolving funds, but just updating our existing recycling revolving fund to meet current conditions, specifically relative to the recent change in the way in our containerized pickup system. And the Select Board voted 5-0 favorable action.
Great, thank you. Speaker queue is open. I don't see any speaker requests. So we are going to proceed to a vote on the main motion under Article 26. This is a majority vote. Bring up the vote screen. The motion is to amend Title I, Article 22, Section 5 of the town bylaws to update recycling fees revolving fund. Okay, voting is now open. If you wish to amend the bylaws for the recycling fees revolving fund, press 1 for yes. If you do not want to make that change to the bylaws, press 2 for no and 3 to abstain. And this is a majority vote. Okay, voting is closed. And the motion passes 184 in the affirmative, 7 in the negative, 1 abstention. It takes us to Article 28. 27 was on the consent agenda. Article 28 now. Mr. Hurd? Yep, you're up.
This is going too quick. Too quick, I can't keep up. Thank you, Mr. Moderator. John Hurd, Chair of the Select Board. Article 28 seeks to create home rule legislation to authorize a ballot question to increase the number of alcohol on premises licenses. So these would be all alcohol restaurants. From currently it sits at 20, that would allow us to go to 30. The Select Board.
I'm sorry, I'm just going to interrupt and pause your speaking time for a second. Apologies. Can we just clear the speaker queue, please? Okay, speaker queue is open. Mr. Hurd, continue. Sorry.
The Select Board voted 4-0 for favorable action and Mr. Helmuth recused himself from the vote.
Thank you. Okay, speaker queue is open, and there are no requests to speak. So we will proceed to a vote on the main motion. Still no requests. Okay. This is a majority vote. Let's bring up a vote screen for the main motion under Article 28. Have we a point of order? Oh, I did not see it come up. Can we show the speaker queue? Can you try pressing 1 again? I see. Okay, I see it now. Okay. Raise your hand if there are other requests to speak during that time. Okay, so you might need to get that handset checked out. So we have 2 requests here. Ms. Doctorow? Pass. And Mr. Baudouin? You will pass, okay. But you might need to get your handset checked out. Yeah, okay. Okay, so seeing no more speaker requests, we'll proceed to a vote on the main motion of Article 28. This is a majority vote to authorize filing of home rule legislation seeking 10 additional all alcohol licenses. Let's see. Yeah. Green light's not on, you're just entering the speaker queue. Remember, it's 1 to enter the speaker queue, 0 to exit. Okay, voting is now open. This is a vote on the main motion of Article 28 to authorize filing of home rule legislation. To authorize the Select Board to file home rule legislation that would grant the town additional licenses for the sale of alcohol. Okay, voting is now closed. And the motion passes, 173 in the affirmative, 6 in the negative, 4 abstentions. That now takes us to Article 30. Can we clear the speaker queue now? Oh, I'm sorry, did I skip 29? Yes, sorry, Article 29, my apologies, Mr. Hurd. And the speaker queue is clear if you want to enter it now. Mr. Hurd, please stop touching the microphone.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Moderator. John Hurd, Chair of the Select Board. Article 29 seeks to submit home rule legislation to revise the process for calling and conducting recall elections. The Select Board voted favorable action 4-0. Mr. Helmuth recused himself, and I'll invite our town clerk to further elaborate.
Madam Clerk.
Julie Brazil, Town Clerk. Is that better? Is that good? Okay. So, presentation.
Remember, you can enter the speaker queue now if you wish
So
to.
this started over the summer when a fellow town clerk asked a question about, surrounding towns and how their recall provisions worked. So I went and I read our recall provisions and realized that they were decades out of date and would be just an absolute nightmare to administer an election. So I thought, let's fix that. So I talked to the legal department, and then Deputy Town Council Jacqueline Munson did some research and found out that the town of Conway had recently filed home rule legislation to get their recall election provisions passed as a special act. And so we thought we would start with the Conway model because it was recent and it was obviously going to comply with all the current election law. And so then it was really just a question of tweaking it to be specific to as many of the details in our current Arlington provisions as possible. So the goal was to modernize it so that it's in compliance with, current election practice. And I think it's more readable. It has more steps elucidated. It's a clear walkthrough of the entire process captured in the proposed language that would amend the Town Manager Act. So next slide. A lot stays the same. I looked at it, a lot of sentences get reworded, but really they're conveying exactly the same details. So the process is 50 voters file a petition with the town clerk. We certify those signatures. If those 50 signatures are certified, then we prepare forms for the petitioners to do the large-scale signature collection that is necessary, and they collect signatures from 20% of registered voters in 20 days, and then if we certify those have met the standard, the select board calls the election. And there's other steps in there, but it's late, so trust me. So that's all the same. None of that has changed at all. So next slide, not a lot of true substance has changed. One change I thought was really helpful. The current provision says that the forms the clerk prepares for the petitioners to collect the signatures should contain the names of all 50 of the original petitioners. And I thought that was excessive. And so the Conway language said it would be the first 10 registered voters on the initial petition who would be named and who would be the sort of point of contact for the clerk's office. I don't really think it would be feasible to coordinate with 50 people. 10 is enough. So those are really the one major change, and the next slide is the last major change. The current language says that the select board should schedule the election on a Tuesday, not less than 25 days or more than 35 days out. Well, that's just not enough time to hold an election. I throw very nice parties and I need time to plan. So, but I mean, honestly, you need, the entire process involves, the ballot will have the question, yes or no, do you want to recall this person from this office? And then also the names of the candidates to fill the office if the recall passes. So it's one election that answers the question. And of course, if the recall itself fails, then you don't bother with finalizing the votes for the candidates because you don't need to. In a small town, the language says you don't even bother to count the votes for the candidates, which isn't an option for us with our scanners. But really, the major change is that we need more time so that we can announce the election. Candidates can pull papers and have it at least 2 weeks to collect signatures, which isn't a ton of time, but would be feasible. And then we certify those and so on and so on. To make one last point, I can't, under the law, even put the order for the ballots in until 33 days before an election. So there's a lot of steps, and they're all very specific dates calculated from the date of the election. So I just couldn't. So 60 days as a minimum is very sensible, and I thought we should give the select board the flexibility to pick a date that makes sense based on the time of year and what else is going on and holidays coming up. So those are the major changes, and I'm obviously happy to answer questions. Thank you.
Thank you. We have, I'll show the speaker queue. We have one person, so we'll shuffle it, and it'll still be Mr. Carney. Mr. Carney? Actually, the intent is blank, which probably means it was not the one button, so it looks like we have no speakers under this article. Last chance. Okay, seeing none, we're going to proceed to a vote on the main motion of Article 29. This is a majority vote. It would authorize filing home rule legislation to amend the Town Manager Act, revising and updating the process for recall elections. So if you're in favor of authorizing the Select Board to file home rule legislation, press, well, when the green light goes on. There's a lot of folks in the speaker queue. Okay, voting is now open. If you're in favor of authorizing the Select Board to file home rule legislation to revise and update the process for recall elections, press 1 for yes. If you wish to not authorize the Select Board to do that, then press 2 for no, or 3 to abstain. Okay, get your votes in. Okay, let's close voting. And the motion passes, 180 in the affirmative, 1 in the negative. That takes us now to Article 30. Okay, we have a motion to adjourn, and we have a second. All those in favor of adjourning, say yay. Yay. All those opposed, say nay. Yay. We are adjourned.